At Melek Ministry, we believe that no one can be forced beyond the limits of their conscience. No creed, no tradition, no authority can take the place of the inner responsibility each person has before God. Conscience is not an obstacle, but the very space where God reveals truth to the human being, step by step, at the right time. For this reason, we do not pursue the uniformity of belief, but the respect for each person's freedom to accept or to reject what is not well entrusted to them. This approach is not weakness, but the recognition of a profound reality. Truth establishes itself by its own light, not by force. Genuine truth does not need coercion, dogma, or anathema. It confirms itself within the conscience of the free person, just as the light of the sun confirms itself by the very act of seeing it. Any attempt to impose truth through external authority produces conformity, not transformation. Fear, not conviction. Obedience, not responsibility. In this spirit, at Melek Ministry, we do not hold to an infallible canon. We do not function as an institution that dictates to everyone what must be believed, but as a space of research and discernment. We study everything carefully, filter it through conscience, keep what is valuable, and set aside what is harmful or contradictory. There are no texts that are sacred merely because someone declared them canonical. There are only texts that prove themselves in the light of truth and of the living conscience. The image of God is the human conscience. This is what makes us truly like Him, not identical but carrying His likeness. Just as a child bears real resemblance to the parents, yet remains distinct, so humanity reflects God through conscience, the inner moral compass, the voice that calls us to discern good and evil responsibly. To violate conscience is to distort this likeness. To follow it is to honor the Creator. Like a child who grows naturally and harmoniously, we learn gradually, without forcing inner rhythms. A child who is compelled to violate their conscience becomes confused and vulnerable. A child who is taught to respect their conscience becomes an integral adult, capable of discerning good and evil on their own. The same is true for the believer's soul. Inner freedom is not a secondary option, but the fertile soil in which the seed of truth takes root. The contrast with traditional religious models is striking. Churches and religious authorities have elevated imposed creeds to the rank of mandatory truth, turning faith into a set of conditions for belonging. Instead of calling the person to think, to inquire, and to listen to the voice of conscience, they often force them into a formal adhesion to what others have decided. The result is a believer who may be uniform but not free, informed but not enlightened. We are not an authority over conscience, but its defenders. We believe that God Himself claims the right to guide each conscience, not through fear or coercion, but through inner light and conviction. This is why Melek Ministry is not defined as an institution of doctrinal control, but as a community of people seeking truth responsibly, together with open minds and open hearts. This stance is deeply rooted in the very dynamic of the kingdom of God. The kingdom does not come by decree, by force, or by imposed dogma, but through the gradual transformation of the human conscience, enlightened by God's Spirit. Authentic faith cannot be administered as a code of laws. It grows organically like a plant nourished by light. In conclusion, at Melek Ministry, we do not seek unity of creed, but unity in respect for conscience and for God, who leads each soul in its own rhythm. This is the surest, healthiest, and most worthy path for the human being as created. Not blind submission to external authority, but responsible freedom, through which each one comes to know the truth, because they have received it personally from within.